Hopefully we are now live. Ladies and gents, huge apologies for a 7 minutes delay. My internet was being a twat, for want of better words. So I had to run off and go and get a cable, and I had to do a few other bits and pieces. So please do accept my sincere apologies for being a few minutes late. I am now going to add the gorgeous Mr. Mahoney into the stream. I know loads of my followers absolutely love him. And we're going to be talking today very much about how our soul is starting to come back online. So let me get Mahoney in, and no doubt he'll give me some grief.
Give you some grief.
Hello, my love.
You want some grief? I don't think you need any more grief. You can handle all the grief. Hi, Lucy. How are you?
I'm so well, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, good. I'm recovering. I deliberately took the entire weekend and did nothing but sleep as much as I could because I was so drained from that Dublin event. I really needed the backup sleep. So, yeah, that's what I did. I just slept all weekend, and I was up early this morning running around. And I feel good. And this is the only interview I've got today with you. So it's going to top off the day to a perfect day.
Wow, so it's actually a part-time day for you today, because normally you're really busy, right, around other stuff.
What I do is every alternative Monday, I kind of leave it open for any surprise that I need to get to slot in. So yeah, that's why we decided. Very good, very good. I'm happy. What are we doing then? I haven't really looked. You posted something, but I didn't look at it. I didn't have a chance.
Well, you tell me what we're doing.
Well, we've been discussing. For your viewers, we both kind of stumbled on one thing about this. I mean, how did it all get started? A lot of people, Catherine Edwards was asking me my backstory, and your backstory is really interesting too, because you came from a corporate background, very masculine-based, aggressive sales pitch, go for the kill, rack up the numbers, and then you've gone in a totally different direction. So, we met. Again, from your viewers, I know but your viewers don't. We met in Birmingham first, and I didn't know much about your work, and I don't think you knew much about my work really either, did you?
No, I knew nothing about you. And I think it was in Ireland, actually, where we were having a little conversation, and I was like, David, you're going to have to tell me about you because I know nothing. And I feel really ignorant saying that because I know how much of a big name you've been within the truth movement. And I'll be honest, I knew nothing, but I actually quite liked the fact that I knew nothing because I probably would have had a preconceived idea or something like that. And I've actually been able to get to know the real David Mahoney, probably rather than the Mahoney that some people believe that you are, because
I thought you were going to say, David, I'm really sorry. I don't know anything about your work, and considering how big your ego is, I was waiting for a stomach bug.
Well, you know what projecting.
With me, there is no ego. You see, I'm very humble about it. I still can't really. I mean, I know what's going on, but sometimes I just crack. I'll be sitting there doing something, and I'll just be cracking up laughing at something that's happened. Like I got a shout out the other day on Judy Barrington's, Restored Republic. Now it was that day you were sitting next to me, Nicholas Vinyarman. We were having a chat in the pub. In the garden of that hotel pub in Ireland, and you get a shout out, and there's like 6-7 million people watch that worldwide. I just think it's hilarious, because it is good because I think people there's a lot of people come onto the scene, and they're a bit like pop stars. They hit high and then they burn out, and they're not consistent. They can't run the course. I think that's quite interesting because a lot of people burst onto the scene and then they don't stay the course because it is a grueling course that we go.
Yeah, absolutely. So just as a little bit of a backstory, we don't need to go into it too much, but I feel it's really appropriate that we have a little bit of your backstory because I think it's relevant to the fact that we're now, or not me, but you are really stepping into your soul's memories right now. And I know you've been doing it, but since you and I have got connected in Birmingham, it's been like bam, 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 bang, hasn't it? It's been level up.
It's your fault, isn't it? I mean,
basically,
yeah. I think the hardest part of that is to recognize what it is. You got to learn to identify what the signs are. And I remember a few years ago, I got into trouble in the States, and they tried to, my soul journey, my guides were trying to remove me from America. And I kept ignoring it and kept finding ways around these blocks that they put in. So I think we should start talking about blocks, because you'll.
Just before we go there, because I love that story, by the way, and I really do think that my viewers would love it as well. But just before we go there, what were you doing in America? Like, what's your past? What were you doing before COVID? That would be good.
Well, just before COVID, I mean, most of the name I built was as an actor. I've done a lot of the. I've been involved in the film business for close to 30 years. So I was trained as a stuntman, specifically with cars and motorcycles, some horse work, some close to hand-to-hand combat work, you know, Viking stuff and, you know, gangster stuff. And I did a series of films in the UK, which are the biggest franchise. It's Rise of the Foot Soldier. Now they're making a sixth one. So I did number 3 and number 4. And I've done tons of big films like The Horses for Gladiator. We bought those in Spain. Sahara with Matthew McConaughey. We did all the location work. Born Supremacy, again, they were filming in Morocco, Spain, Seville, and this part of Spain where I am. So really all the film business, but producing and acting myself. And silly little things as well. I've done like quite a lot of television work. Years ago, I was in the Bill and in London's Burning, and you know, just as a walk-on part. As a man, you don't really get anything good until you start to get some wrinkles. I've noticed. So
now you're busy.
Yeah, COVID. I'm really busy now. Busy as I've ever been.
I'm just getting you back.
We had 2 really good films we were about to go and produce. And one of them was based on the real story why Hillary Clinton ordered the invasion and the stripping of Libya. And that got me in a lot of trouble in the States because I put the whole story together with pilots. I was in the aviation industry a little bit as well. While I was down in South America, I was studying how to fly. And I was enrolled in films in pilot training school in San Diego in 2014 when I was detained and charged with a threat to the security of the United States because of the information I put together in the script about Hillary Clinton, the Illuminati, why they wanted the gold, why it was in that part of the world, why Syria was brought in. And I put this whole story together, which is a lot of biblical references and predictions, as well as some insight that I picked up that I kind of knew from soul memory, and then talking to a lot of other pilots that I was furloughed with and spent weeks in hangars in different parts of Central America, such as Mexico and Guatemala, Honduras, Salvador, Panama, all these places. So when COVID hit, I was really bored, and I decided to start talking about the truth, you know, and getting the truth out there and saying, listen, this is a total and utter load of bollocks. Are you getting a bad echo?
No, somebody's just saying that they are. So I'm going to pop a headphone in and see if that improves for them. It's only one person that said it, but just
I'm not getting anything at all.
Let's try again now. Yeah, what it is, it's your computer and your microphone are picking it up and it's reverberating. I'm an expert, I know, and I'm speaking the truth now. So you listen to me. Yeah, that's much better, Lucy. Well done.
I'm happy. Yeah, I think it's because I'm streaming to 2 locations at the same time, although they aren't open because I don't have either YouTube or Facebook open because I'm going to 2 locations. So maybe next time we'll just do it on. Oh, they're saying it's a little bit better now. So, but I think that's what's happening because it's going to 2 locations. There's just a little bit of an overwhelm with it. But yeah, so just going back to what we were talking about, Mahoney. Basically, you were very much involved in the movie industry. You've been very much you've basically been in the throes of what a lot of so far breaking down the elements that came through with COVID and some of the truth and things like that. You were actually involved in that quite heavily. So you've actually got a really beautiful perspective to be able to share with us. And what I loved about what you said to me over the weekend just gone was that you've always been aware of what's been going on, or for a very long time you've been aware of what's been going on, maybe not to the severity to what has come out over the last few years. I'm not too sure, but you were definitely aware of it, right?
Yeah, that I was very lucky, Lucy, because this all ties into my awakening. Okay, so my parents have been very anti-authoritarian. They don't like police and military and anybody telling you what to do. My father was an Irish rogue, and he used to, he never paid his road tax on his car, and he used to dodge and duck everything. And changed the spelling of his name. Was it an apostrophe? Is it not an apostrophe? You know, he manipulated the system living in England for years because he didn't agree paying taxes for what. So I was in Spain. This was about 15 years ago. I had a pretty accurate guess, 15 years ago. It was a Sunday morning. I'm pretty hungover. I'd just got up, went down for breakfast in a very famous place here called Porta Banús.
Like
and then yeah, well, not so much nowadays, but 15 years ago. So I was approached by this exceptionally beautiful German girl with the piercing blue eyes, perfect athletic body. I know she's still friends with me today, although I haven't seen her. I see her about once a year, but I know she still trains and works out, and she's funny about her looks. Anyway, she comes up to me and she says, "I must speak with you." And I thought, oh God, what did I do to her last night? I don't remember, say something inappropriate, because she was obviously with the boyfriend. But the boyfriend, I could tell the way he was standing and his posture is ex-military. He was probably still serving at the time. And I immediately saw this situation, but I read it right, but he wasn't threatening. So I said, "What do you want?" She says, "I have to talk to you. Will you meet me?" I said, "What do you want to talk? I don't know who you are. What do you want to meet me about?" She said, okay. I kind of badgered her, and she said, there's a small man standing beside you in a uniform, and he's giggling and laughing. He's very mischievous. And I suddenly realized, I thought, oh, at the time, I had a girlfriend whose father was a GI. His name was Joseph, and he died that November, about 6 months earlier. And he was very mischievous. He was always hiding my keys and doing tricks on me and stuff. And when I used to say, "Joe, come on, man, where are my keys? I got to go," they'd sort of turn up. So she was Germany's most famous psychic that had moved to Spain because somebody tried to throw acid in her face when she was doing a television show in Germany. So she moved out the way. Acid went that way. So she kind of lived here to get away from all that. But anyway, she said, "Look, I have to talk to you. They've been telling me I have to wake you up." And I said, "What do you mean wake me up?" Didn't even know what that meant. She says, "I have to wake up your soul journey. You need to meet me." So 2 days later, I went to meet her in a hotel, and then it all started. She says, "I have to wake you up because you are going to do something in the media, that you're going to do a great big trick on the entire world, and millions of people will listen to what you're saying, and you're going to help millions of people." I was like, huh? How did, and I was thinking, I said, "What, in film?" She says, "No, it's not film, and it's not television. It's something else to do with the media. I don't know what it is." I said, "Okay." And she said, "Listen, I also need to tell you something else." So she started talking about meditation. I still can't do that because I can't switch my brain off. But she said, "Look, David, there will be a virus, and it will come very, very quickly. Now, America will be the first to close the doors, and the rest of the world will follow. And then there'll be a mutation in the vaccine will come, but the vaccine won't save the people that release the virus, and it will kill them. And 50% of the people that you will lose." And I took a step back and I went, "Say that again." She said, "They will release a virus that's man-made, and it will come really, really quickly. The whole world will go into lockdown, and America will close the doors first." She said that first. "America will close the doors first to the world, and the rest of the world will follow, and the entire world will go to sleep for about 2 years. Then they will have a vaccine, but the vaccine will not save the people that invented the virus. Only the strong and the smart will survive, and you'll lose 50% of the people that you've ever known and loved."
Wow.
Have I told you that before?
Yeah, you have. But I just think that it's very pertinent for obviously where we want this live to go. I think that's a really, really pertinent place to start. So you had this conversation and you got this
at
information.
least 15 years ago.
Yeah.
I told my family. They thought I was nuts. And then she said, "You're going to leave Europe, and you're going to go on your journey. You're going to learn all the skills that you need to learn to finish this course that you're doing. And along the way, you'll meet people that will teach you things that you need to learn."
Yeah.
And it's so true. I met somebody who taught me how to fly. I met somebody who told me about electronics. I started stripping iPhones apart just for fun and rebuilding them out of 3 or 4 phones. I can fly, sail, drive, or ride anything, and I can fix engines, strip it all down, put it back together. I know about electronics. I'm like MacGyver. Honestly, I can do anything. And
so quite a handy person to know.
Yeah, I'm the ultimate zombie apocalypse guy.
Survival man. So now all of the women are going to be going, "David, please, can you be our guardian if when it happens? Save us."
So the media thing came true because I got into this straight away because coincidentally, one of the biggest truth talkers is Charlie Ward. And he's a friend of mine. He lives down the street, really. I mean, he lives about half an hour away. So I started, I didn't have Facebook, and I didn't have Instagram. I had nothing, Lucy. I had no public following, only a few bits and pieces. I mean, maybe I had a Facebook account with maybe 10 people on it. Sometimes you get a link and you need a Facebook account to link it. I had no interest in social media, zero. And then I don't actually know. Then we just started messing about and doing Zoom calls because you couldn't see your friends. We're all in lockdown. And I don't actually remember the moment where it just went, and the story of Joseph Gregory Hallett, probably, because I took the money that I was going to make a film with, and we flew to England under assumed identities, and I managed to smuggle the film crew in and out, and we shot all that, and then we put that out on Charlie's channel. And it kind of just went from there. But the spiritual side of things just has really taken off recently. I think the last really 12 months, it's become very strong, and my intuition and the feeling I get. I mean, again, cracking up laughing some of the stuff. You know, I'm finishing people's sentences now, and I'm guessing the names of people that they're trying to remember. And even I'm even throwing numbers. I'm looking at a number and I can throw it in someone's head and they say it, and it's freaking them out. The psychic abilities and the soul stuff.
Amazing.
Yeah, but I don't know how to control it. This is the thing. I tell you where it mostly happens is where I'm just absolutely thinking about nothing. Just, you know, you just go.
It's designed that way though, right? Because if you're constantly busy, which I know you are a really busy person, and this goes to everybody else that's watching, if we're constantly busy and constantly distracted, how are we going to let that gold come in? How are we going to allow our intuition and, you know, the soul's pulls to actually get activated? And that's really kind of what I want to speak to you about, David, because I obviously met you in Birmingham, 3 months ago, give or take.
Yeah.
I don't even remember when it was, but it was in Birmingham in May at some point. And I knew nothing about you. You knew nothing about me. And at the end of the day, once everything was over, I remember you saying to me, bloody hell, where did you come from? God, you're really good to listen to, actually. And I was like, wow.
It's the channeling. You just open it up and you just go boom, and no bullshit. I like some of the things you were saying specifically about accepting your karma. You know, why have I been divorced 5 times? Why have I never had any children? You know, all of these things that people question, and they're a hard answer. They're a hard spoon of sugar to take or medicine to take. But you're very honest, and it's brutal sometimes, but it's the truth. I've always felt that as well. So I like that. And I was very surprised about that.
Yeah, most people are. They see me and they're like, oh, she's just a sweet little thing. And then boom, the warrior comes out and kicks them right where it hurts.
But that's the thing. It's a positive thing, that.
Yeah, well, yeah, it will be. When people get to the point of actually accepting it and hearing it, people are very, very grateful because obviously they get some sort of healing journey from it. I think what's very, very interesting, though, is we met at that point, and off the back of that, you have really gone to a whole different level. You know, like a whole. Yes, I do.
Well, I was doing that anyway. I was doing the Huna stuff anyway. I think it's a whole different level because, you know, I've had some help. I mean, you were a tremendous help because, you know, and I'm saying, well, what's that? And I'm going, that's what that is. You know, I've been doing it, but I haven't been aware I've been doing it. And this is what I've been trying to talk to you about, how to tune in and hone those skills of identifying the signals and signs and the confirmation that the work that you're doing is working, because you're very good at that. I noticed that you can tune in straight away, whereas I'm like, I don't know if you've ever seen a movie called Eric the Viking. Have you ever seen that movie? It's the kind of a Monty Python, right? So there's all these Vikings and they believe in Valhalla, yeah? And they've got one Christian priest with them, and it's set in 900 or 920 AD. So they're going across the North Sea, and all of a sudden they're attacked by the dragon of the North Sea. So all of the Vikings are fighting this dragon off because they believe in the dragon in the North Sea. And the Christian priest is saying, what the hell's going on? What dragon? Well, I don't see any dragon. And this is it. It's about when you just tweak that little pieces inside, which you have those abilities. So I was fascinated to see if I could tune into what you tune into. that would clear the fog from my eyes. Instead of just feeling it, I want to be able to sort of acknowledge it and recognize it straight away, rather than having it come later. Because I find it, when I do it afterwards and I feel it afterwards, I'm like, oh, okay, I know what that is now. Yeah.
So I love the fact, and thank you for sharing that, because I think that will help a lot of people recognize that they're not batshit crazy, that they're feeling the same. Because I do get a lot of people messaging me saying, just tell me how to do it. And it's actually not follow these steps. It's almost like you need to witness it to be able to feel it, to know how you can contribute to it. And what I loved, literally from the get-go with mine and you, I think it was the second time we met, maybe in Glastonbury, all of a sudden you and I are like completely aligned with, we did go to the pub. Yes. I'll give you that. Yes, we did go to the pub. But even before the pub, you were delivering messages to me, and I was sharing things with you, and you were connecting all of these dots. And that's what is so important for this journey. It's not about me being a single female or David being a single male. It's about us all coming together and sharing what we are seeing. And this is how the memory of our soul comes online. And I truly believe, and, you know, I've said this to many, many people about you, David, like, I truly believe that you are just starting to step into what I call your essence. I know you don't like that word, but I truly believe you are stepping into your essence, the authenticity, which is the core that is behind the David Mahoney that everybody knows and sees, the actor, the, like, whatever that is.
Yeah, I agree, Lucy. I can feel, look, people always say, oh yeah, I always knew there's something special about me. And, you know, my granddad used to say I was very special. But if I look at the life I've had and all of the skills, like police now, right? I came back the other day and there was another court order on in my mailbox pinned to my door. I thought, there's another one. I just put it to the side because, you know, I go there that often for the stuff I believe in. I don't get fazed by it at all. And I usually have the police running around in circles, especially the prosecutor. I kind of like it. I have a thing for beating the authorities, and you know, because they're bullies, and they're presuming you're stupid and you don't know how to manipulate things and twist the words around. So stepping into, I think you're right. I think I've been in training, because you have to understand that part of this journey, I do actually believe there's a great big waiting room before we're all reincarnated. I think everybody's in there and saying, right, what we got this time then? Well, you can go to Africa and be murdered by the time you're 6, or you can go to, you know, Ethiopia and die of starvation. That's going to teach us. Nah, I don't fancy that. What else you got? You know, and I think all of the major emotions such as love and betrayal and deceit and deception and passion and all of these massive things are all karmic life lessons. I think you say, right, well, I've checked this. There's a guy up there with a list. And he's saying, right then, so last time we had you up here, you've done the passion, you've done the deception, you've done the being a big movie star. Now, what about dying horribly at sea? Have you done that? Oh, no, I haven't done. Well, what about that? We got
I'll take it for the team.
No, I don't want to do that. Look, well, you've got to have to do it sometime. You might as well. Look, I've got one down here in the Titanic. It's the most famous shipwreck in the world. You can get you on that if you want. Yeah, I kind of think it's like that. Is you get incarnated, you choose your journey. Yeah. So if I think about all of the lessons I've learned, I mean, I speak 5 languages, which is ridiculous considering I'm dyslexic. And I've been through South America, all of the life skills. I haven't learned all this for nothing. So it's not just going to be sitting down the pub saying, oh, by the way, the German word for domino is domino. You know.
I think,
so
can I just rudely interrupt you? Can I just rudely interrupt you? Because I think what you're there's an underthread to what you're saying, which is really, really important. Every single person has a purpose. Every single one, right? Every single one. It doesn't matter if you're out there doing something or you're not doing something, or you perceive you're doing something or you perceive you're not doing something right now. Every single one of us have a purpose. We are all an individual piece of the puzzle. Okay, there are certain people like David and myself that are the communicators. We've been chosen to communicate this lifetime, whatever that may look like or whatever that may feel like. We've been chosen to do that right now. it's often easy for people to get caught up and go, well, I don't know what my purpose is because I'm not, I don't have a following, or I don't have this, or I don't have that. It's not your purpose to do that. Chances are, if you're not doing that, chances are it's not your purpose. However, that doesn't mean that you don't have just as an important role. And it's very important that we recognise that. And what David's saying here is he's learned 5 languages, probably never even considered learning 5 languages or realised that he was going to do that. But he's learned it because he needs to be, and he didn't like it when I shared this with him, but I see him being a coordinator. Do you remember when I said to you, you're going to be a coordinator? And you're like, shut up, I ain't going to do that. I ain't going to do that. But I do. I see you being a coordinator. And of course, a coordinator needs to speak multiple languages, because it's not going to be one team from the UK. It's going to be a team that has multiple different people from multiple different places. And who's going to speak to them? You are, because you can speak in multiple languages. So I just wanted to throw that out there for everybody, because quite often the number one question that comes to me, whether it be on one-to-one clients or my programs, is tell me what my purpose is. I know I've got something, but I don't know what it is. And the fundamental truth is purpose is about living in a space of light and love. Like, that's what we're here to do. We're here to be anchors right now. And then the semantics, for want of a better word, will get defined to you.
I think you're right, Lucy. Look, my life sounds, it makes it sound like it's one constant James Bond film. And sometimes it really is. It kind of is. But you know what? You try watching a James Bond movie back to back all Sunday, watch 7 Bond movies. It's boring. I say to people, you've got to understand, you don't know what that one pebble that you drop in the water is going to do. Let's take a mother of 2 kids living in, I don't know, Birmingham or somewhere. You know what? One of those kids might be the grandfather of someone very special. You just don't know how far it goes down the timeline. And you haven't been brought back to witness this great awakening for nothing. There are a lot of people out there who won't realize what's going on. They'll be like the Christian priest in the boat, and they won't see the dragon of the North Sea because
that's their role. Let's honor, that's their role. Not everybody. Absolutely. Imagine if everybody was a David and a Lucy. Like, imagine if the whole world was like us. God, it would be bedlam.
Yeah, it would. But I always identify there's 3 types of people. You've got the warriors in the front, and then you've got the healers, and then you've got sort of the mothers that are coordinating everything in there. And there's lots of different roles in life. The healers are very important. I had a reading once, and they were talking about, it was funny this, because they were saying, we've been together before. I was a healing prostitute in Phoenician times, and you were a soldier that was damaged that came back. And what they did in these times is, when these soldiers came back with post-traumatic stress disorder, what they did was they used love to bring them back into the energy of love by showering them with love. I mean, people often mix up sexual interaction as love, and obviously it is. There's 3 different types. You can make love, you can have sex, or you can fuck. That's the only 3 types. I'm sorry, it's true. But you know what? They had their roles in society, where they would introduce love back to these mentally damaged soldiers who'd been in the wars for forever. And they brought them back from that aggression and bloodlust and thirst, brought them back into the love energy and put them back in society, and they became fathers and lovers and husbands. And beautiful. I learned about that as well. There's all different types, and you can't just associate, prostitution is something that's often associated with lower class and, drug use. I mean, it does happen, but, I know lots of people, I'll tell you a little secret. Years ago, when I used to see a lot of the working girls, I see them now as mothers. Sometimes I have to go and pick up my friends' kids from the school here, and it's a private school. It's very expensive. And I recognize a lot of the working girls I saw 15, 20 years ago now with 8, 10-year-old kids. They found love, and the father of the children was very happy. He accepted what she did. She moved away from that. It was just a vessel for her to get where she needs to be in life. So accepting all of these different roles, Lucy, is important. You can never judge somebody just because he's sitting on the corner selling a big issue. You don't know what his karmic journey has been before that, or where it's going to go in the future. So I've been very surprised by homeless people, some of the intelligent things they've said, because don't forget, and I'm going to shut up after this, a lot of very intelligent people they do have one foot in crazy town. And a lot of people, like, you know, where they consider us conspiracy theorists, and a lot of people say, oh, the Mahoney, he's crazy, don't talk to him, he'll start talking about UFOs and underground chambers and child trafficking, and there's a fake election. But you know, today's conspiracy theory is tomorrow's proven fact. So
yeah,
don't judge a book by its cover.
Yeah, it's interesting. So I was sharing with David offline before I came on this video today. I had a plumber come to my house earlier, and we were having a little chat as he was leaving. And I said, I was talking to him about a couple of things, and he went, oh, you're one of those crazy ones. Or I said, I'm one of those crazy ones. I can't remember which way it was. But his response was, all the best ones are. And I think that that's what's happening right now, is that, yes, some of the things that we've spoken about, yes, some of the principles and the conspiracy theories have seemed a little bit crazy, but actually we're starting to recognize that all of us are bringing our own little piece of the puzzle, and we're actually starting to really create quite a work of art now. You know, it took some people to be really aggressive and get out there. You know, I was one of the frontline people in the protests for the children here in the UK. You know, I remember being surrounded by the police and them getting in my face and telling me that they were going to fine me with all sorts of different bits and pieces. My Facebook account getting taken with 36,000. Like, all of this stuff would deem me, to a normal person, as being crazy. Right. But what it was doing is, it's the passion, it's the warrior woman within me, it's the mama bear. You know, just because I don't have children doesn't mean that I don't have that mama bear, that I will literally take the world on to make sure that our children and the children of the future have the best world that they can live in. You know, but like I say, to some people that would appear quite crazy. Like, why is she getting involved? She doesn't have children. Why is she do you get what I mean? People often say that. Why do you care? Because I've got little sisters, because I've got a nephew, because, you know, I've got friends with children. That's why I care. And is that crazy to care about people? I don't believe so. I think that's actually a really beautiful quality. And I actually think what's happening right now is all of us are rising. All of us that have even had that little inkling within us that has suggested that there is something bigger, all of us are rising now. We're stepping up, we're stepping into our warrior energy, whether that's male or female, and we're actually coming together. Like, David, you and I would never have ever crossed paths with you if it hadn't been for Charlie. Charlie's just always taken me under his wing. He's always liked my work, and I would never have met you. And look at the phenomenal partnership that we've made, even just looking at the weekend that we've just done in Ireland.
Yeah, but that's our destiny. It's supposed to happen. Let's go back to signs, Lucy, because it's easy to wander off on this, because I always try to pack in as much things to share. But I'd like to make something. I'm still absolutely learning about this. I suspect of the power I have. I think I know it. I can feel it, and it's getting stronger and stronger. But it's like learning how to use it. I mean, it's a bit like coming into puberty, really. You know, it's very easy to walk into a bar and say the right thing to a girl, but it's very easy to say the wrong thing as well, you know. And I think this is the kind of feeling I'm getting. I'm relating it to still understanding about what I have potentially trapped in here. So identifying the signs, I think, is something we should talk about with your followers, because it's something they have to do. And I'll start the ball rolling and you can carry it on, because what I identify things is when I get blockages. Okay, so you want to start a new business, and the business, it sounds like a good idea, you know. It could be anything. Like, I had an idea once about doing a custom jean shop, because women, when they have a pair of jeans, they tend to keep it, but you know, they fluctuate, they have children, they get a bit older, they get whatever. And I said, then a place that you can go and have a custom pair of jeans made, where you can have a glass of champagne and some good-looking gay guy flirting with you, telling you how amazing you are, taking the jeans measurement and putting diamantes on the pockets or whatever, and then having them made somewhere as a custom jean and franchising it. So I tried to do this. Every time I was doing it, I thought it's a really good idea. It's innocent. Nobody gets hurt. I'm not using Bangladeshi sweatshops. But I just kept getting blocked. Every time, no, that lease is gone. That lease is gone. No, we only work with this. We can't work with you because we're manufacturing for diesel. They buy up all our denim. So just identifying all these signs. And how bad it got was I was not supposed to be in the States. So I got a warning first where they removed my ESTA visa, my flight visa. I said, all right, I don't care. I'll come in by land. I'll pass over from the Mexican border, Tijuana, San Diego, no problem. So I did that. And then they took away my FBI security clearance. You have to have FBI clearance to fly. So I'm in pilot and control of an aircraft over America. You got to have FBI security. So then the bastards took that away. So there's warning number 2. Warning number 3 was I was detained for the first time for 3 days illegally. But I ignored these blockages, and it was saying, you're not supposed to be here, you idiot. Are you not listening?
Wakey, wakey.
I was supposed to be back in Europe, and it got so bad, they ended up arresting me the next time and put me in jail for 6 weeks, and then removing me from the States with a lifetime ban, saying, right, we told you 3 times. You didn't listen or you didn't see it. So for the audience, Lucy, when you're getting these blockages, and then try something different. And when that is think, oh, it's actually open, I can go through here. Yeah. And this is one of the signs that I look for in my life, that you know, driving to the airport the other day, I was in my friend's Volvo. I was saying, well, this is going really well. I'm nice and early for the flight. Next thing you know, the turbo blew up going up a big hill. Nice. So I went, oh, I started laughing. I went, oh, you bastards. I know this is them messing with me. So I slowed it down, just nursed the car, got it there, and got to the flight, and then we carried on an island. But, you know, they just said, don't push it. Yeah. So talk about signs, because I think your experience with the signs is very interesting as well.
Yeah, so when you were just talking about your indications in America and the fact that you should have got out of America, what was coming up for me was in December last year, I had to move out of my old apartment. And I started looking, and I was looking in my area because I really liked where I was. I was 20 minutes from my dad's house. Everything was sweet. I could see my little sisters as and when I wanted to. And I kept being blocked, a bit like you. Everywhere I went, every offer that I made, I kept being blocked. And it got to April, so I'd been looking for 5 whole months at that point, right? And I'd had, you know, offers declined. Everything was just going. And I literally had a little hissy fit, and I was like, "Fine, you motherfuckers, where do you want me?" And my mum started calling me. My phone started ringing, and my mum was calling me, and I was like, nah, I'm not going back to Bournemouth. No way am I going back to Bournemouth. Spoke to my mum on the phone, and she said, maybe you should consider looking at another area, Lucy. And my mum's a really good messenger for me. And I was like, oh, for God's sake. So I went on Rightmove, had a look at a few places in Bournemouth, and I was supposed to be seeing my mum on the Friday, and I said to her, look, I'll come down there. I'm just going to have a cheeky little look at a few places, and, you know, because I'm obviously being blocked where I am, although I'd like to stay here. And literally, I came down here, I saw 3 places. This was the last one, but this was the one that I saw, and I was like, oh my God, if I'm going home, because I'm from Bournemouth, I want this view. And I walked in here. I didn't even get to the room that I'm in right now. I walked in the front door, and I was like, I've got to live here. And I got this beautiful message that came through me that basically told me I was going to be a linchpin into something pretty profound that was going to take place. And it was at that point I recognized that all of the blocks had been for and not only but for humanity's benefit, because what I have identified since then, and David's actually played a huge part in this, is I was shown very clearly that there is going to be a formation that comes from the top of England all the way down to where I am now. And David actually helped me pinpoint the location exactly where that's going to be. And this is what's going to help the world shift from where we are right now into what we're hoping it's going to be in the future. So listen to the signs, listen to what comes up, because sometimes, in fact, every time, they're doing it to protect you. They're doing it so that you do stay on your path. You know, I had no inclination to come back to Bournemouth. In fact, 16 years ago, when I moved away, I went, I'm never going back there ever. I will never go back. And here I am. And look what's happened off the back of it. You've helped me pinpoint the starting location of where that Golden River starts. On top of that, all of the information came through about Ireland, all of the information that's come through about the other locations we've been shown. So David and I have obviously, we've done some work in Ireland together. but we've also been shown that there's other places around the world that we need to go and do some work together. And this is premised off of me being blocked from staying where I was living and coming to Bournemouth and opening up this, I've got the word portal in my head, but that's not what I'm talking about. Opening up this whole new world that is going to be taking place. And it's all about divine timing. It's all about divine placement. And I'm really grateful. I know there's many conversations and speculation going on about me and you. There's been one in this chat whilst we've been talking.
Oh, I say.
Yeah, I know, right? Oh, there's gossip going on about David and I.
I'm sure.
It's very important that we recognise, and we've actually spoken about this, haven't we? And we said that we're going to do a video around divine masculine, divine feminine, and the interactions and how people get misconstrued about sex and things like that. Like, David and I have been put together for a reason. Like, I know that we've got past lives and karmic stuff. I know that, and I've explained some of that to David, but that's between him and I and not anybody else, you know. But David has become a very profound messenger for me. I've been getting these places, and then David has been literally pinpointing it for me. That's what we're here to do. And
you haven't told me that before. You just keep saying thank you. So I'm very happy to hear the word profound messenger. I'm going to get that on a t-shirt. I'm Lucy, profound.
Hey, hang on a minute. I said that on a video the other day, that you've become one of the most important messengers for me, right? Well, I'll speak to you and I'll give you little bits of information, or you'll send me a picture and I'm like, oh my God, that's what I saw, and yada yada yada.
It's true. Yeah. Before Island. Yeah. We keep seeing this one symbol everywhere. That was straight. Even, I mean, that was ridiculous, wasn't it? I know we veered off there in a different direction. It's this ancient anti-clockwise spiral. So I started seeing it 2.5 years ago, golden signs coming down when I started doing the interviews. And then it's got really bad. You were seeing it on jewelry. And then everywhere we went in Ireland, it was on our water bottles, on our tables, your bed sheets.
I mean, what the heck? Like, what on earth is that all about? I was like, what the fuck?
And then everywhere.
There's the other sign that actually the van is still over there. I had to send David a picture this morning because
they're probably watching you in that
pyramids. Yeah, I know, they're like, what's she doing? Pyramids come up a lot for us, and we know why now. And it's very important that we are, you know, we're remembering everything that's coming up around these signs. And, you know, like, I know, like, people can speak, I don't care, like, and I'm sure you don't care either. Like, people can say whatever they want to say. Like, thankfully, nobody's going to get hurt by any speculation or whatever that's taking place. But do recognize sometimes people are going to come together that have to do things to help humanity. You know, it might not make sense to the normal, average, everyday Joe, but we've got to start trusting that people can be in each other's company, and people are on a mission without it having sex involved or anything like that.
Well, people's egos get confused. You know, it's like, look, I watch men, and you know, how they carry on in a club, and the reason men cheat, for all these women out there, the reason men cheat is because their ego, they still want to feel like the king of the pack, and they can still, you know, push their chest out and push their peacock feathers out and still attract the youngest bird in the flock. And I think it's pretty petty, because if you go down to a basic level, one woman is the same as another woman. It's just, you know, slightly different size. It makes no difference. It's all about the intimacy you share outside of the bedroom, so you can sit down, have a glass of wine, talk and share. And men just want to get the numbers up, because it's kind of in their DNA. Women often look for the person that's going to be able to provide the best safety for their offspring. It's, again, an ancient instinct in women. Who's going to be the best hunter-gatherer, is going to keep my children safe. So women nest and men just, you know, and if you eliminate all of that, you know, I've been in enough situations to know it just causes problems. And I'm more interested in the work that I have to do now. So I've given up. I don't have any dating sites. I'm really not interested, Lucy. And see, that sounds like it's an insult. And you said the same thing to me. And I think people need to understand that it is possible for a man and woman to have a platonic relationship without all your friends saying, come on, mate. You really are, aren't you? I know you are. So I think let's move on from that. It's a bit silly, but I want you
to be addressed. It needed to be
All
addressed.
right.
It's been addressed. So
That's
what
fine.
I think is very important though is that all of us are messengers for each other. That is the key element of what this conversation needed to take place.
Yeah, forget the male female. Look past it, because you know what? Chances are the person in front of you in the last life wasn't probably a man or a woman either, and probably neither were you. So it's only because you've been stigmatized and baptized by propaganda, like women have to behave in one way and men in another. And you know, women are taught you can't trust men, and men are saying, oh, you know, all I've got to do is show up in a big car and pretend I'm really rich and just flash some money around and give her 3 gin and tonics and I can take her home.
Is that how it works?
Yeah. Can I borrow your car, Dad? Can I borrow your Porsche? I'm going out on the pool.
Oh
Lucy,
my gosh.
let's talk about look, my karmic soul journey has happened by accident. I haven't controlled it, it's just grown. But I think a lot of your fans are going to need some help, and I don't really that. They often ask me, I say, well, maybe write a list down of what things that you find interesting. What do you watch on television that makes you cry? Apart from my videos.
My followers have loved your videos from Ireland. You know, they really have. They've been so blown away. And I wish I could put them on YouTube, but I can't because they'll get blocked for the music and all the rest of it. But, you know, so hop into either David's or I Telegram group and do check out those videos. They've been really profound, very, very tear-jerking for people. But to the point that you were just talking about, David, then, I think you've hit the nail on the head. We must start with who we are. Like, what makes you happy? What makes you tick? What makes you get excited? What makes you want to bounce out of bed in the morning? You know, what people often say to me, but Lucy, how have you got where you've got? I figured out who I was. But it took me to the age of 35 to even ask myself, Lucy, who do you want to be? Like, what makes you happy? Because I'd never asked myself that question ever in my life. I just worked my freaking ass off. I was so busy on the trading floor that I didn't even have time to scratch my backside, let alone do anything else. Then I would go out partying all the time because that's what we did. And I was in this complete, fabricated, indoctrinated, like self-sabotage mission. And that's where we need to start. Like, why are we doing the things that we're doing? Do they make us happy or do they make us fit in? Like, this is where we need to start with it. So, hey, Declan, nice to meet you. From Ireland. Yay, we love Ireland.
Oh, Declan's an Irish name. Write a list down. I find, you know, I don't mind admitting, Lucy, I cry a lot. I can watch a certain scene and it'll get me crying. And I tell you what, all the videos I do put together from the footage I do, if it doesn't make me cry, I retweak it till it does, because it's got to do that. It's got to reach that emotion inside. But some people...
I think that's what a lot of people really like about you, though, David, is that you are quite vulnerable. Like at the Huna event, you know, there were tears, weren't there?
God,
you
absolutely.
know, and it's extremely important that we normalize that behavior as well, because it's actually been considered quite weak, and I don't see that as weak at all. I see it as extremely amazingly vulnerable, actually. And I think a lot of other people are starting to recognize. I mean, the women love it, right? Not that they like seeing men cry, because I don't, because it makes me cry. But there is something very special to see somebody that can tap into their emotions and be comfortable to demonstrate that.
Yeah, but identify the emotion. They're not tears of sadness. They're tears of joy. It's a clearance thing. Huna does this one song, and it's his very first song. And we were laying on this wooden floor and had that great big drum. It was coming right up through us. My whole body temperature shot up about 7 degrees, started sweating like crazy. And it's that one song for me, it just seems to activate something, and it's a clearing for me. And we actually developed the song together. He was messing about, mumbling one day. I said, what's that? On the beach in Mexico. He says, oh, it's that Tibetan stuff, you know, you know, he goes into it. And I said, oh, shit, man, that's good. Let's do some more of that. So it was me that pushed him for it. Maybe it was my own self calling it. But again, detailed conversation going into veering off, but that's all the frequencies. But there's nothing wrong with, like, you know, I'm not saying you got to, you know, watch YouTube videos of kittens and start crying. I'm just saying, when you see something particularly beautiful, what did I see the other day? Like, you told me that story about your sisters. That was a beautiful cry, tear-jerking moment when they said about he's my daddy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like
Beautiful.
that. Yeah.
Okay, so now I'm going to have to share that story, aren't I?
Yeah, I'll share it quickly. So she said
Go on.
when her sisters were really young, they were just getting their head around that, you know, Lucy was the half sister. So one of them said, he's not your daddy. And she says, oh, yeah, who's my daddy? She says, I don't know who he is, but it's not him. And that was funny. That was a tear-jerking moment.
Yeah, it's the vulnerability in children is what we should be watching and how we should be bringing ourselves forwards right now, because they are so open. You know, it's only life that makes people tough. It's circumstances that make people tough. But again, you know, with the other work that I do, it's very much about our emotional traumas that basically hold us in those scenarios whereby we daren't tell somebody how we feel because we've got commitment issues, because once upon a time we got hurt, or, you know, things like that. It's very, very important that we start to recognize that we've chosen to be hardened. We've chosen this path because of this now moment, because we are on a healing journey. We are all getting connected back to our souls right now. And I'm going to say it again. And I know I know you hate compliments, but I'm going to say it and we're going to all watch Dave squirm now. Watch him. He's going to be really uncomfortable and be like, fucking hell, Lucy, why do you keep doing that to me?
Go on, let's get it over with.
Yeah, hurry up, woman. I have to honor the massive shift. And I know that you say you've been doing this for about a year and working with Huna and all the rest of it, but there has been a big shift in you and this journey that you've decided to honor much more so in the last couple of months. I mean, obviously I didn't know you before then, but the time I did meet you, what has happened in the last couple of months is you've really surrendered to it, and you've just gone, right, now I know this is part of my mission, I've just got to do it.
Well, I think that, yeah, you're right. But there's certain things you can't control. You know, there's a famous country song, and he says the woman's driving off the road, and she's the car is in the air, but she's still trying to steer the car, but she's in the air. So she says she lets go of the steering wheels, and she says, Jesus, take the wheel. And it's sometimes you're fighting in the current, and we all are in this lifestyle of fighting against the current. You know, trying to battle, get another job, get that one last contract in. You know. Just got to get that one last sales call in. You're just swimming against the current the whole time. So when Huna said this burning mask, again, he developed this idea between the last year and a half, sitting on the beach with me in a few different places here in Spain, in Mexico. And he said, well, if I get them off the ground, I want you to be the what's the word? The MC, the host, or the anchor. I said, yeah, mate, I'll help you out with that. And I kind of didn't think he'd get it done in time. And even up to the last few days before the first one, it was still all chaotic. So burning mask number one was Cancun. So I had to fly to Cancun for 3 days, jet lag, then fly back. I tell you what, you know.
Even I don't do crazy shit like that.
I was spaced out for about 10 days this year. But, you know, once you're committed to it, sometimes, and again, all of these different subjects that we keep, you know, I'm pretty good at just trying to get back on track. And this leads us to the one big thing, Lucy. Yes, I have embraced it. Yes, I've let it take me where I'm supposed to go because I can see where it's going. And I feel great doing it because, and I feel like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like the atmosphere in Birmingham, I didn't eat any all day. And we were, you know, signing autographs and shaking hands and hugging people. That whole energy just fed us. It's like nutrition from the sun, and all of the spiritual stuff when you go there, and the amount of people that share intimate parts of their life and journeys and things. You know, Mark Atwood, what a fella he is. He's calling in the UFOs. I was like, holy shit, look at that. So I learned as well. But so, going back on track. Sorry, Lucy. I think. Okay. If I want people to understand, I'm no expert. This has happened to me, and I can't control it. For some reason, I've been chosen to do this, and I've accepted it. I've burned all of my film contacts. They all think I'm nuts. I'll never work for a major studio again, but I will be making movies again. I know that, and I get that buzz out of being in front of the camera by sharing my emotional experiences with total strangers, and I absolutely adore it. It's fantastic. I love the feedback they get, and I love it that they can feel what I felt when we walked through that field of all those souls, all those tortured souls that were hung in that field, and you set them free.
Emotional.
It is emotional because we stumbled across it, or did we? We were guided there.
No,
we said, let's just drive down this route. We were guided there. They were calling you. I did the drive. I did all that. Right, let's go down here. Oh, I know what that is. I reckon. No.
Don't you take credit for that?
You wouldn't let me. But go back to why most people cannot start or embrace this soul journey, this essence that is there, and it's always one word, and it's fear, Lucy. This is the biggest thing that I've had to overcome. Is I literally have no fear. I couldn't give a monkeys about anything. And some people might say, "Oh, it's all right for you, Mahoney." Well, no, there's been many times I've been in situations I can't pay my rent. Trust me, I've lived on potato soup in Chicago once when it was minus 35. I was that broke. So, but having the ability to reject fear from your life, this is something I think we should do another whole discussion about, because that's where you start, in my opinion, Lucy. And that's a humble opinion. You have very, very tuned in skills. But for me, what keeps me going in this is I have no fear. I have no fear of ridicule. I have no fear of people saying, "Mahoney, what are you doing with that massive looking Hawaiian guy?" Huna, so what do you want to go there for?
Just quickly to everybody watching, I'm actually going to be doing a video with Huna tomorrow. We're going to be doing a video together. So if you're wondering who this crazy Hawaiian looking guy is, and you want to know a little bit more about Huna, please dial in tomorrow. I think we're going to be going on about 5:30 UK time. So do keep an eye on that. We'll be doing it again on Facebook and YouTube. So hopefully, fingers crossed, you too will be able to get to know who Huna is. Another thing, there's just a couple of bits that I'd really like to say before I come back to the fear thing. So Lizzie has actually popped in the chat that she's noticed a change in you since Ireland, which is beautiful feedback, right? Because I think many people are noticing it. And I know that you don't like hearing, compliments like that, but I have noticed a massive shift, and it's really beautiful to watch that unfold. The other thing, so just coming back to the fear thing, it's interesting because you actually, I think it was in Ireland when you said to me, "Lucy, what are you scared of?" Or "Lucy, what do you fear? Do you have any fear?" And it's fascinating because I don't have any fear whatsoever other than snakes. And I know I've had a past life where a snake has killed me. And actually, I say that it's a fear. It's not really now. I can see it. I can touch it. I just would choose not to. Do you get what I mean? Like, that's my choice. But that's the only thing that I have any fear around. Other than that, I feel I have lived the best life ever, and that whatever is to happen from here is just a bonus. Like, literally, that's how I feel about it.
Yeah. I mean, you can't really say fear of snakes is that. I mean, it's like saying, "Oh, I've got a fear of heights." Yeah, you can walk upstairs but you're not going to be walking along an iron girder on a construction site saying, "Woo!" You can be silly with it. Like, I wouldn't like to drown in a horrible dark ocean in the middle of the night in freezing cold temperatures. So I'm not going to go jumping in the water and saying, "Let's conquer this fear." But I think most of the fear is always associated with financial stuff. And I made a decision to use the money that I'd put together for a feature film to go out there and start filming about the restrictions and lockdown and COVID. For entertainment, for really, I wanted something to do, but I said, and I didn't monetize it. All of my associates have said, "Listen, Mahoney, you've spent 150 grand making all of these episodes in amazing quality, and you've given them away for free." And I said, "Well, I have to." I said, "They contain really important messages for humanity. I'm not going to charge people for that. You can't do it. It's wrong. It's like saying I found the cure for cancer, but it's 500 grand. So it's money that controls the fear, in my opinion, Lucy. I really hate my job, and I wish I could find another one. But what do you really want to do? Well, I really want to be a musician, or I really want to be a teacher, or I'd love to study marine biology. But you know what? I'm working in the local school as a dinner lady, and I can't afford it because I've got my bills to pay and kids in school. I don't have the time. So
it's actually one of the
this abundance would be great if that when that happens.
it's one of the main questions people ask me, actually, is how did I leave my massive salary from the trading floor and go out and work for myself? Like, where did my confidence come from? And I agree with you. So many people fear money. You know, the spiritual world think that it's bad and it's dark and it's this and it's that. So they live in a lack state because they don't believe that it's got anything, a good vibration associated to it. And then there are other people that are so scared that they won't be able to pay their bills or anything like that, that they stay in a world which they know doesn't serve them. It's extremely, I think you're bang on with what you're saying. And we will definitely do, we've got shitloads of videos to do, me and you. We're going to be sick.
Yeah, that sounds like it. But I always say money, who's the master and who's the slave? You know, if you're chasing it, I find if I don't chase it, like silly little things happen. Somebody rang me up and said, I've got 600 euros for you here, Mahoney. I said, what, from what? He said, you gave me a contact 2 years ago. A guy was changing up, I don't know, Australian dollars into euros. And you introduced him. I was like, oh, fuck it. That's great. I'm happy to hear it. You know, and I clicked on my cryptos one day. It was up 700 euros. I thought, well, how's that happen? I haven't done anything. But I'm blessed, Lucy. I really am. And I never forget that. And I'm very grateful for the universal great creative for giving me all these talents and blessings. But I think you've got to understand, you're the master of the money and not the other way around, because if you're chasing it, it controls you. But you kind of got to ignore it a bit, you know, like, and most people will relate to this, to being in a bar again in their youthful days.
I knew you were going there.
Just give him a little look and we'll just ignore him.
I knew you were going to go there.
Because most people have experienced that, haven't they? Well, I ignored him. You know, it's the same for fellas. You know what? Just ignore it. Yeah, pretend she's not even there, mate. You know, and it's funny. The negative and positive, like two magnets. You see what I mean? If you put two positives together, it will push you away, but the other side will draw you together. So we'll get into that in another stage, because I've got some other theories. But what I'm grateful for right now, Lucy, is having us identified all of the different puzzles that we've got together to put together to finish this. You seem to know more about where the final destination is going to end up and what it's going to mean. I'm just the luggage carrier. That's it.
You're just the film boy, aren't you?
Yeah, I guys,
if you've never seen any of his short movies, my God, he is a talent, absolute talent. And watch him squirm, ladies.
I'm all right with that.
This is the best way to make Mahoney squirm.
My work is important to me. I'm very detailed, you know. Even that little the video I made of the fairies the other day was put some effort in for your little sisters.
I know, and it's things like that. You know, all the women are going to get worse with you now. But I said to David about filming some of the location where we were with the fairies, and because I would really like to share it with my little sisters, because I promised them that in our lifetime I would bring the fairies back online, and I don't break a promise to my little beans. Like, there's no way I'm going to do that. And so David made a really beautiful little video for the fairies to go to my little sisters, and they loved it so much. Like, literally, they're like, when can he make us another one? When can we go there? And I just love it so much, because they're like, this total stranger to them has made this movie and it's changed their life. And it's what, a minute and 10 seconds, 20 seconds.
Yeah,
like that.
something like that, short.
You know, and it's just powerful.
Did you get to watch the Abby interview, by the way? I forgot to ask you privately.
The Abby interview, which one? Oh no, you haven't sent it to me.
I have. It was. I sent it late the other night. You said you read it tomorrow, because that's ready now. Go and have a look at that.
I haven't seen it. I'm so sorry. That's it. Was that on Saturday night that you sent that?
Yeah, I sent it late. I think you were sleeping.
Okay.
So,
all right.
Anyway, the link is there, and that's ready to go out for your followers as well if they want to look at that.
Thank you. Nice interview. Yeah, I'll have a cheeky little look. So a lot of people here in the comments have just been saying, please, can you guys do more of this? Just talking like this. It's been fabulous. It's been really nice. You know, it's really helped. You know, it's nice to get your feedback, guys. And I like doing lives for this, because it just makes it nice to be able to have a little bit of an interactive conversation. David, how do you feel? I know we've got to do the one about feminine and masculine. I know we've got to do one about no fear, but how do you fancy doing a Q&A at some point? Maybe if we get Mark on as well or something. I think we should do that.
You can do it whenever. Yeah, Lucy, I'm happy to do it. If we can squeeze them in. Yeah, I mean, I'm usually doing 1 or 2 a day, but there's always time for important stuff. I always leave a spot
There's always
open, but
time for me. Let's start the real mill.
I think it's interesting too that, you know, you can see how many people are wanting to embrace and unlock their spiritual powers. And it is a confusing world out there because there's a lot of people that are full of shit. I consider them charlatans and shit talkers. You know, oh, you need to go outside in your garden and start picking up snails and seeing what signs they leave on your hand. Go to sleep with 2 snails all over your chest.
Yeah,
There's just some silly little things, you know. But
so let's do it. Let's do it. Let's normalize this spirituality between male, female. Let's normalize the relationships, you know, and embodying and helping people ascend and rise in love and in their mission.
Yeah, I don't exactly know where it goes, but the conversations, the great thing about sharing our conversations is it opens so many doors, and how far we go through that doorway and come back. It's that's what I find interesting, because we've probably covered about 45 or 55 subjects today. It's good, isn't it?
We don't stay on track. We go off on tangents and everything, don't we? So, but that's the best.
Yeah.
That's authentic, right? It's authentic, and somebody's just put, you know, that like I am really real, and I know you are as well, and that's why I'm loving working with you. I mean, I'm excited for the things that we're going to be doing next. If you'd get off your ass and speak to the man that I need you to speak to.
Oh yeah, I've got to go and see him. I was actually thinking I was supposed to go yesterday, but I totally forgot. But they didn't ring me either. I'll see him this week. I'll see him this week, Lucy. I've got some time. I'll go down because I need to see my other mate as well, because he's going through some stuff, and I need to go and give him a virtual hug and a pat on the back. So Lucy, thank you. That's been great. And let's do more of them.
It's been amazing. It's been really amazing, and everybody has received this really beautifully well. So thank you to everybody for watching. We will be back soon, and I will be back tomorrow with the amazing Huna Flash. Okay, so I will see you guys.
I'll leave you alone for now with Huna, because he's so much information. You don't need me on that show, Lucy. So I think it's a really great. Yeah, you need to get Huna on, because has he told you what he's planning on next year yet? Has he told you the new one?
He's been giving me a little bit of indications about stuff, so we're gonna have a good chat. I think it'll be a really good conversation between me and him tomorrow, because again, there's been some quite big messages that he's given to me and vice versa. The work that I was telling him that I'd done in Europe blew him away. And obviously, as you know, with that photo that I sent you, he was there with me, part of the journey. So it's very, very interesting. And I'm excited to be able to share some of that with everybody tomorrow. But
that'd be good.
Guys, we're going to love you and leave you. And we will see you super, super soon. Just keep an eye out, and I'll just make sure that we give you at least 24 hours notice or something. All right?
Yeah. Thank you, guys. And if you want to,
take care.
we'll speak soon. Bye-bye, Lucy. Cheers.
Bye. Bye.